Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News, an Indian perspective on All India Radio. This is Renuka bringing glimpses of major developments of the day from across the globe. The headline: India reiterates its support for an Afghan-led peace process that secures interests of minority and women. US President Donald Trump calls normalization of Bahrain-Israel relations a historic event. Prime Minister Boris Johnson accuses European Union of threatening UK's territorial integrity over internal market bill. India votes in favour of UNGA resolution calling for multilateral cooperation on COVID-19. Clinical trials of Oxford vaccine resume in UK. And in US Open, Victoria Azarenka to clash with Naomi Osaka in women's singles final at US Open. India has reiterated its support for an Afghan-led peace process that secure interests of minorities and women. External Affairs Minister of India, Dr. S. Jaishankar, said this addressing the conference on Afghan peace negotiations in Doha through video conferencing. He stated that Afghan soil should never be used for carrying out anti-India activities.
Any peace process must be Afghan-led, Afghan-owned and Afghan-controlled. It has to respect national sovereignty and territorial integrity of Afghanistan. It should promote the values of human rights and democracy that can foster development. The interests of the minorities, women and vulnerable must be ensured. And most important, the issue of violence across the country and its neighborhood has to be effectively addressed. The rising levels of violence cannot be allowed to continue, and like others, we support an immediate comprehensive ceasefire. Our friendship with Afghanistan is strong and unshaken. We have always been good neighbors and will always be so.
Afghan peace talks open in Qatar capital Doha today amid calls for ceasefire and protection of women's rights. The intra-Afghan talks between the Afghanistan government and the Taliban are aimed at peace and stability in Afghanistan after nearly 2 decades of war. The agenda includes a permanent ceasefire, Afghanistan's future political system, and a range of social issues, including women's rights in Afghanistan. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo urged both the sides to seize the opportunity to strike a comprehensive peace deal. He also acknowledged the challenges ahead.
We believe firmly that protecting the rights of all Afghans is indeed the best way for you to break the cycle of violence. Of course, I can only urge these actions. You will write the next chapter in Afghan history. We hope this chapter is one of reconciliation and progress, not another chronicle of tears and bloodshed. We urge you to make decisions that move away from the violence and the corruption and towards peace and development and prosperity.
In a major diplomatic development, the Kingdom of Bahrain has initiated the process to normalize its relations with Israel. Announcing the move, US President Donald Trump called the day truly historic.
Things are happening in the Middle East that nobody thought was even possible to think about, and that's what's going on right now. Bahrain has agreed to join Israel and the United Arab Emirates and by the way, I want to thank Mohammed, who is a great leader, a truly great leader, at the White House on Tuesday. So they'll be here on Tuesday for the signing of the Abraham Accords. The significance of the signing will be elevated from an already historic breakthrough to one representing a previously unthinkable regional transformation. More countries normalize relations with Israel, which will happen quite quickly, we believe. The region will become more and more stable, secure, and prosperous.
Only a month ago, the United Arab Emirates agreed to normalize its ties with Israel under a US-supported deal. The deal will be inked at a White House ceremony on September 15th. Meanwhile, Palestinian leadership termed the establishment of diplomatic relations between Bahrain and Israel a betrayal of the Palestinian cause. Iran has called it a shameful act. The United States has signed a defense cooperation deal with Maldives to strengthen alliances amidst China's growing presence in the Indo-Pacific region. The agreement would deepen their engagement in maintaining peace and security in the strategic Indian Ocean region. The U.S. has also been pushing for a broader role by India in the strategically important region. 5 Indian nationals who had gone missing from Arunachal Pradesh have been handed over by the Chinese People's Liberation Army. In a statement, Indian Army said they took the handover at Kibitu border post today after completing all formalities. This is All India Radio, giving you the world news. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has accused the European Union of threatening the United Kingdom's territorial integrity over the proposed internal market bill. He said the EU is attempting to blockade Northern Ireland and prevent free trade and transport from the rest of the constituent nations of the United Kingdom. He urged the country's lawmakers to pass the bill. The debate concerning the bill will begin on Monday in the House of Commons. The internal market bill has unsettled the Brexit negotiation process. It proposes to roll back some of the commitments on state aid and customs check on goods entering Northern Ireland. The government says it is needed to clarify the Northern Ireland Protocol element of the Brexit deal it signed this January. However, European lawmakers have made it clear that they would not approve any new trade deal unless the withdrawal agreement is fully implemented. The number of COVID-19 cases continue to rise globally, and the figures crossed 28.29 million mark. US and India have the largest number of cases, followed by Brazil. India registered highest single-day COVID-19 recovery, with over 81,500 people returning to their homes after successful treatment in the last 24 hours. Early identification, wide-scale testing, prompt and effective treatment have actively led to a high recovery rate in the country. India today voted in favor of the COVID-19 Omnibus Resolution in the United Nations General Assembly, UNGA, recognizing the pandemic as one of the greatest global challenges that calls for a global response based on unity, solidarity, and multilateral cooperation. The UNGA has approved the resolution that urged member states to enable all countries to have unhindered timely access to quality, safe, efficacious and affordable diagnosis, therapeutics, medicines and vaccines. In another significant development, clinical trials for the AstraZeneca Oxford coronavirus vaccine resumed days after being paused due to a reported side effect in a patient in the UK. External Affairs Minister of India, Dr. S. Jaishankar, along with his Thai counterpart, co-chaired the ASEAN-India meeting of foreign ministers today. It reviewed the status of ASEAN-India strategic partnership in several areas, including maritime cooperation, connectivity, education, and capacity building and people-to-people contacts. It also reviewed the progress and implementation of the ASEAN-India Plan of Action 2016 to 2020. The new ASEAN-India Plan of Action 2021-25 was adopted at the meeting. Now, let us take a look at our daily reckoner of sporting events from around the world.
In the US Open, in a few hours from now, Naomi Osaka will play Victoria Azarenka in what promises to be an enthralling women's single final. In women's doubles, the pair of Germany's Laura Siegemund and Russian Vera Zvonareva lifted the trophy. In cycling, the Tour de France saw Primož Roglič strengthening his position as the overall lead as the grueling 13th stage came to an end on Friday. In football, Arsenal are off to a great start in English Premier League with a 3-0 win over Fulham. This is Naresh Mago from News Desk, Sports World for AIR World News.
8 members of the United Nations Security Council, UNSC, have urged Myanmar to ensure that individuals of all the communities, including Rohingyas, are able to participate safe, fully and equally in credible and inclusive elections scheduled on 8th of November. India is celebrating 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Before we end, let us listen to his favorite bhajan, Vaishnavajan, by singers from Japan. And with that, we end this bulletin. See you at same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.